Happy Halloween, FlossTube. This is Shanda from along the Continental Divide. And even though I'm recording this on the Thursday, Halloween Eve, I will post it first thing Friday morning, tomorrow morning. I don't think I'm going to have an introduction. Like, everybody likes to see my photos and all the fun stuff with the music. The music that's been my signature music for, I'm going on 6 or 7 years. FlossTube. In September, I believe it was September. I believe it was, you'll hear my cat. I believe it was in September of 2017. So what would that be? 6, 7 years? You're gonna hear my kitty. You wanna come say hi? Say hi. He wants my attention, but I can't quite give it to him. This is my 25-pound ragdoll cat. Hey, look up here. Will you look at the camera so they see how blue your eyes are? Look up there. Hey, you. Anyway, this is Persistence. He's pretty grouchy at times. He's very temperamental. His name is Fluffy, by the way. He was kind of a drop-off, abandoned cat, and we kind of took him in and we just kept calling him Fluffy because he was fluffy. But he's a guard cat now. Anyway, I'm not going to be having an introduction with my music and all that for probably till the 1st of January. I'm in the process of making a new one. My friend Bonnie, the Log Cabin Stitcher, hi Bonnie, she said you can't change that. That's like the introduction to the Waltons. It's like, or Little House on the Prairie, it's always the same. But all of a sudden, even though it was free when I picked it out, all of a sudden I'm getting copyright notices. So I'm going to have to change it. And I just thought I'd make a generic, nothing but stitching and quilting pictures for my introduction. And that'll probably be for my very first FlossTube in January. Today is going to be kind of short because I do have my bags that I want to talk about. I got one done, so you can see that. I only have one one finish. This is Stacy Nash, Seeking Goodness Pink Heap Drum. I was stitching this with my friend Christy. She'd gotten a kit from a viewer, and I had this one started. I started it June of 2024. This is stitched on 32 count Belfast linen. And I got it done. And it is going to be in a drum, so I don't know quite how big it will be. Looks like it, I mean, the picture looks kind of intimidating. Looks small, but I think it's going to be pretty big. I don't know, probably not as big as my one right here, my schoolhouse coverlet drum, maybe just as big, I'm not sure. But anyway, one color, I believe it's DMC, one color, DMC 3787. Except for this candelabra has, oh, I think I got kitty cat hair here. It has 4 little flames. I don't know if you can see that. And I don't know what I stitched those in. Something I had next to my stitching chair because I was not going to get up. I wanted to get it done. But anyway, there it is. Next time I'll probably have a fully finish for you. And this, I will make this into a drum. 32 count Belfast linen in natural. That's all I have on here. Mine was not a kit. I guess I must just pick something from my stash and went for it. So I'm going to try and replicate that red on the top out of something. I wish you could see my fabric here behind the camera on some red shelves. I am planning on doing in December a small FlossTube, and it will be a studio tour. So it won't just be just my quilt wall behind me. It will be a whole studio tour, which I did one many, many years ago, but It's changed since then, right? I'm hoping for the first snowfall so then I can film outside and then show you what it's like inside. But anyway, Stacy Nash Primitives, Seek Goodness Pinkeep Drum, and Strawberry Emery. I did not do the strawberry. I did just that beautiful drum. And DMC 3787. There it is. Okay, what am I stitching on? Tomorrow night, I have plans to make hubby and I a homemade chicken pot pie. Out here in the boonies of the mountains, 150 miles. I think I've mentioned that before. I am at least 150 miles from anywhere. Our town is about 10 miles away. Then I have a town called Idaho Falls that is about 150 miles to my south. I have Missoula, Montana, which is that direction, and that's about 150 miles. And then going out the other road of town, there's a few small towns, but the big town out that way would be Boise, and that's 5 hours. And it's right around 250 miles. So we are pretty isolated. Anyway, tomorrow I plan on making hubby and I a homemade chicken pot pie. There will be no trick-or-treaters. We're just going to relax and watch a movie. I'm not a scary movie person. And I know we won't have any trick-or-treaters. So it's homemade chicken pot pie tonight, actually, by the time you see this. And I'm going to be starting Stacy Nash. I think she's one of my favorites. Isn't she everybody's favorite? Stacy Nash, House of Berries, Chapel Road, Miss Baxter's house. I just have loved this for a long, long time, and I'm going to start it. That's me out there feeding my chickens, which I got new baby chicks. They were born June 4th. I got them from my hatchery down in Caldwell, Dunlaps it's called. And they're out here in my little garden area, out my door here of my she shed studio. And yesterday, they were born on a Wednesday. Yesterday, they were 20 weeks old. And I went out to lock them in, and I had my first egg. So I took it in and left a note for my hubby that says trick or treat. And then today I got another one. So, yeah, my girls are finally laying eggs. I personally feel it's because we give them warm water. We have a heater that their water sits on. And just a tip, if you don't have that, if you have chickens, we've also used like go to DI or Goodwill or somewhere, a Goodwill store, and get an old crock pot that doesn't have a lid. And as long as their water is warm, you will have chickens laying pretty much all winter long. Anyway, again, I digress. Miss Baxter's house. I'm going to start this tomorrow on 36 count linen salt bush from Fox and Rabbit. This is a piece from Maggie's on Maine with these really yummy colors. Some of them haven't been unwound yet. But I think that's going to be really nice. And all these years I've had this chart, and I've never noticed that right beside the house is a bee skep. Where have I been? Anyway, kind of a fun, I just thought it would be a fun thing to start on Halloween. I wanted to really get it started. I may take this one with me to, next week I'm going to be going to Village Dry Goods, which is a quilt store in Brigham City, Utah, with my girlfriend Lynette from Eastern Idaho. We are going to drive down. The first day, I believe it's the 5th, is just it's called the Cross Stitch Club. And I think it was $10 or $15. And you go and you cross stitch from, I think it's 1:30 to 4:30, about 3 hours. And then we're just going to stay the night. And then this month in particular, it just so happened that the next day, the quilt store, Village Dry Goods, was offering Chit Chat Finish That. And that's the quilting segment. So we kind of created our own retreat without going to a retreat. There's no designers or anything like that, but I think I may take this one, and I also may take Turkey Hollow Farm, because I'm working on stitching that, filling in that beautiful cheddar house. And then the only other new start I'm going to have, this is going to be a new start. I'm kind of going out of order because I only have 4 things here. On Thanksgiving, Primitive Stitching by Shelley Owen this is in 2014. Do you see what I see? I've stitched a lot of Christmas in the past, and this is one that is very doable. I think I can get this one done this year. Do you see what I see? I don't know the stitch count on this one right off the top of my head, and I don't really want to take the time to look, but it looks like it fits in about a 5x7 frame, and really there's not that much. I'm looking at the chart on the back here, and actually it looks like it's about 72 by 84, 85 maybe. Oh, such meaning in this one. Do you see what I see? Love a lot of Shelley's designs. I haven't even picked out any linen for this. I guess I better pick up the pace, but it looks like I am stitching it. I've already pulled the DMC flosses. Okay, one more thing, and then I'm going to talk about my project bag. I have been doing some knitting, and I've started some socks. I've started a couple pair of slippers. They're called mucklucks. They're out on Ravelry. And some cup cozies that you put around a coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but you put them around a cup of coffee for just some small neighbor gifts. But in the past, I've done 2 of these. This is the first one I did, and this is on DK weight. And this is a shawl that has a picot edge on the bottom. And this is a Malabrigo DK weight. And I'm not sure of the colorway, but I did this clear back in 2016, so I doubt you could find it now anyway. But this is the picot edge. It's a really, I mainly wanted to show you this for comparison. This is a big shawl, just something to wear around your neck. And when you cast off, you're only casting off this much because that has the picot edge on it. But this is a DK weight. And then this is a fingering weight, and it's much smaller. The gauge is smaller. I wanted a smaller one, but this also is a Malabrigo. Look at that beautiful variegation in the yarn. It wasn't overdyed. So I have a purple one that's DK. You can even see the differences on the screen. DK weight, and this is a fingering weight. I have also started a couple pair of socks. I have started a couple pair of socks, but because I'm left-handed, in my mind, if it's a 3-dimensional object, unlike slippers that you knit flat and then put a seam up them, socks, I need to reverse the chart. In my mind, being a left-handed person, I started to knit. Well, I realized that on the outside, it was a purl stitch, not a knit stitch. So I need to reverse that process. Luckily, it was only just a few, maybe one round I had to rip out. So, but in the future, I will not be showing my knitting unless it is done. I feel like I have too many other things with quilting and cross stitch to show without works in progress for my knitting. And my knitting is going to be pretty much hit and miss. My first 2 loves are quilting and cross stitch. So knitting is when I can fit it in. And eventually I really only want to knit socks. So, okay. My project bag. I got it done. Nothing fancy. This is exactly what you're going to get. I calculated with the yardage that I have, I will have approximately 24 or 25 bags. I got a tag made, if you will, off of Etsy. I can't remember the designer, but it says, oh, it's upside down. It says, I love stitching. You can see that if the camera's picking that up. And on the back, it says, Shanda Stitching in Idaho. You can see that. This is a line called Worn and Loved 2. It is from Jeannie Horton at Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. I calculated close to 5 yards of this. And then as I got to digging, I found I even had enough from this line, because this line is now out of print. When I called back there to ask them when they had this in print, they guesstimated it was somewhere around 2006, 2008. And I had bought some of this to make a quilt out of. It was just cheater's cloth. But I've got a few other things that I want to do. So I decided to just make all these up. I quilted this on my Gamel. It is not computerized. My Gamel does not have anything, what I want to say, it has the stitch regulator, but it does not have anything else computerized in it. So I drive it. So this is quilted by me. The lining inside is one of 2 fabrics. It's either this one right here, this red and brown right here is the lining, or it's not on this one, but it's a version of this green, only brown. I thought about putting rickrack across here. It just took away. It literally took away. This is the size, I believe they're, when I cut them, 12.5 by 14.5. So it comes out 12 by 14. Enough for a project bag. On your project bag, you will be getting a bee and a white tag. See if you can see that. Well, this is the bee upside down or backwards. It's on there with an earring. It's just a floss bag, a project bag bling. But because this is not vinyl, I keep these white stationery identification tags. I usually write in pencil so I can erase it, what project is in here. So when I'm going through my whips, I can just look at this tag and have the name of what's inside on here. So all tags will come with that. And the bee charm. My tag, they all have a black zipper, nothing fancy. The price for these, including the shipping and the tax, will be $36. I took this to the post office, and it doesn't really it doesn't matter on the size of the envelope. It was like $9 in shipping, up to a certain size of envelope, I should say. So I have an order into Amazon for all the envelopes. So with the postage and the tax, $36. But like I said, I only have 24 or 25 of them. So get a pencil, and I'm going to scroll my email address across here. If you want one, on 11/1 at 11 a.m. So 11/1/11. I couldn't think of any other way to do this. Send me an email. And I'm just going to go off the timestamps that I receive those emails on. The first 24 or 25 people, depending on how many I get, a lot of them are already cut out. They're stacked over here, but then there's 2 more pieces of material that I haven't got cut out yet. Shortly after that, you will be receiving an invoice from me, and it's just a PayPal. So, and then shortly therein, you will get your bag in the mail. invoice will be coming from the name of my business is Baker Creek Quilting. And I will, that's where I will be sending the invoices from. That's the one that's on my PayPal. I think that's about it. Any other questions, email me before then, ask me in your email. But please, in that first initial email, I will need your address so that if you are able to purchase one of the bags, I have an address to mail it to. So I'll have your email from, the email you send me, but your name and address, physical address, mailing address, so that I can mail these out to you. I think that is it. November is incredibly busy for me as far as these project bags are first on my priority list. Then I go to Village Dry Goods November 5th and 6th. Like I said, one day is Cross Stitch Club and the other day is Chit Chat Finish That, the quilter's version of just a work day. It's what it is. But I wanted to get away and kind of create my own retreat. I will be working on a fallish type quilt that is a UFO. I'm not sure. I've got 2 or 3 to pick from. I'm not sure which one I'm going to take, but I'm going to take one of those so I can get that done out of my list. Then I will be going down to southeastern Idaho for probably 4 days, a long 4-day weekend. Then I will be going to Illinois to see an ailing aunt and spend Thanksgiving and her 60th wedding anniversary with her. I can't wait for that. That's going to be a really fun week. Very busy week. It's also Thanksgiving week. I think Thanksgiving is on, obviously, Thursday, and their anniversary party is on Saturday. So 60 years for my aunt and uncle to be married, and she is my FA, my favorite aunt. We have done a lot together, so I want to spend some time with her. Otherwise, if I can fit in a FlossTube shortly after Thanksgiving, I will. Otherwise, I will see you in December with my studio tour, and it will be decorated for Christmas. I haven't actually decided that yet. I take that back because I kind of want it to be generic so that when somebody takes a tour of my studio, they're not seeing all these Christmas decorations. They will definitely see my quilt material stash that I am looking at that is I have no words to describe it. It's quite messy right now, and I have it organized by color. So, and on one end is all the quilting fabrics, and the other is also quilting fabrics, but they're flannels. And then down below that are children's fabrics, both flannel and cotton. So anyway, have a very happy Halloween and a very nice Thanksgiving. I think we all need a good Thanksgiving. I think we need to be grateful, show gratitude in our hearts for our families. I know situations right now are not at the best, but I do feel that it can always be worse, right? It can always be worse. I am grateful sometimes for my challenges because I would not want my neighbors' challenges. I heard on our little local radio station the other day a quote that said, I have met a lot of people that have inspired me not to be them. That's not saying, ooh, I wouldn't want to be that person, but I'm grateful for who I am and for the challenges that I have because I know it could always be worse. I know it could always be worse. And please continue on with your challenge of your own personal curriculum. Learn something. My concentration in 2026 is going to be, of course, keep up my cross stitch and my quilting, but I'd like to learn to perfect my socks. I think that's going to be a skill that I can benefit from. I'm learning on DPNs, which are double pointed needles, and I'm trying, which in my brain would be easier, on circulars. It's just that I think those double pointed needles are so cute. I have a girlfriend that I said, oh, when I saw her stitching a sock way back when. I said, what are you knitting on? What are those? They look like toothpicks on steroids. Which reminds me that my friend Pam has really been the inspiration for these socks. She's an amazing knitter. She no longer knits. She gave me all her knitting needles last time I saw her. Had lunch with her not quite a month ago, and she gave me all these knitting needles that were so greatly appreciated. And she really has inspired me to, even though I'm left-handed and I feel like that's a huge handicap, to learn to persevere and knit some socks. But I thank her for the gift of all those needles, really nice needles, different lengths of cables. So yeah, she was my inspiration, but I really wanted to learn what she was knitting on. And come to find out, they were called double-pointed needles, but to me they looked like toothpicks on steroids. But in my mind, I think I might have an easier time knitting on circulars. Yeah, I hear you. That's the kitty again. That's Fluffy. He's probably wondering who I'm talking to. But enjoy your Halloween tonight. Be safe. Enjoy the grands. If you have any grandchildren, as they decorate and dress up, have a very happy Thanksgiving. I will see you in December. Bye.